When I say Love Upon a Time made me a believer, I mean I've done a complete 180 on how I feel about NETJJ's partnership. They did such a wonderful job on this show, and the entire team made a wonderful show. To my surprise, I went from not expecting to like it to absolutely loving it. Now I also feel like I need to watch everything that Net and JJ are doing next. So I keep wondering why I like it so much, like what's the magic in this? And that's what I'll be talking about in this video. Part 1. The love that binds them. This is probably the most important piece of the puzzle. NETJJ's chemistry comes across so well as the episodes progress. People's love for Cloud is so overpowering, and we watch it overpower him until he can't hide how he feels anymore. And then it overpowers Kun, slowly but completely. One thing that stands out to me is that their chemistry in Love Upon a Time has improved so much since when they were in The Next Prince. This makes so much sense. It's like they've spent enough time together and they feel so much more comfortable with each other to the point that everything just flows better. Kun as Cloud and People's relationship builds so naturally. I love how Kun sees him as an obstacle to his mission in the beginning, but slowly understands that he's really the key to unlocking everything he's trying to find. It's very obvious to us that People loves Cloud from the very start. And it's a bit weird at first when Kun doesn't seem to catch this immediately, but it made sense to me eventually. Kun didn't want to believe this was even an option in the time period that he was stuck in. Later, when he acknowledges People's feelings as well as his own, he feels guilty for kind of stealing something that belongs to Cloud. I think this is also why he refused to accept what was right in front of him the whole time. This theory makes sense because immediately Kun learns that he's technically the same person as Cloud, he lets himself fall all the way in. Honestly, the way this plays out just feels so natural. Imagine how weird it would be if he didn't even care and he just kind of accepts People's affection, doesn't even question the ethics of what this all means, given that he's not actually Cloud. Also, all this built-up tension makes for a much better connection when they are finally on the same page and really give into their feelings. That one scene in episode 7 where Kun tells People to go ahead and marry Mewana was a bit weird. I think it was a very powerful scene, though I think it would have made a lot more sense if it really hindered the relationship for a long time and it became something quite clear that Kun wouldn't let People risk his status, his life, and his family's acceptance for their relationship. Then again, I guess Kun didn't really believe what he was saying. He was just trying to please People's parents and do what they had asked of him. I also can't help but bring up how differently they both experienced being separated. Of course, Kun was devastated, but not nearly as deep as People was. This is because Kun knew the truth about the mystery of Cloud's disappearance, and he also had a little hope that People was likely reincarnated somewhere out in the world. People, on the other hand, who I think was more in love with Kun, is so devastated because he also doesn't have any hope of seeing Kun again. He has many unanswered questions and the confusion only gets worse when he finds Cloud's body in the lake. I feel like the approach to both of their experiences makes so much more sense, and it made it easier to be in like the pits of despair with them. I know we don't usually take friendship love as seriously as romantic love, but I think the fact that Cloud, People, John, and Gal are all reborn close to each other, become best friends or family again is just the cutest little detail. It's probably just easier for storytelling, but I choose to believe that it's because their bond is so strong that they were reincarnated to be with each other again and probably always will. Part 2. The case that binds them. Another thing that made this show so great is that they really handled the case of who framed Cloud's father very well. The truth also unfolds super well. Even if it's drawn out over the entire show, it doesn't feel like it's dragged on too long. It really worked because in the beginning, Kun doesn't have Cloud's memories, and he doesn't even know what he's looking for. He also doesn't confide in anyone, so it makes sense that there's barely any movement on the case. Also, People spend so much of his time blocking Kun from leaving the house, so that was another obstacle. As Kun starts to get Cloud's memories, he's also falling in love with People. So he's kind of preoccupied with that, and the case kind of takes a back burner again. Finally, when Kun trusts people up enough to let him in on the case he's been investigating, the case finally picks up pace. At this time, Kel and Jom also start helping them, so then everything kind of ramps up pretty quickly towards the end. The case itself is interesting. I suspected different people were the leaders of the entire drug ring. I thought it was Pim for a while, then I thought it was Pipop's father. Honestly, that would have made for a very good complication to the story. But on a second thought, the story had enough obstacles, so I think that was fine. I knew Sherd was part of all of it, but definitely not the leader. However, I never suspected Han or his father until everything became clear. The final showdown was also well done. It wasn't exactly action-packed, which I think was a good choice. It was more so secrets unfolding in rapid succession. All these questions we've had from the beginning get answered all at once, like who framed Cloud's father and who killed Cloud and where the hell is that bloody lake and what exactly is Sherd's deal. Everything is revealed in basically one episode. I do wish we got to see Han and his father get punished though. By the time we see Han again, Kun has disappeared, so the case is really no longer of interest. That's the only thing about the case that would have changed. I mean, we see Cloud's father kind of suffer for something he didn't do. I feel like it would have been more satisfying to see Han and his father face the punishment for what they did. I also like that they didn't have black and white characters, and by that I mean like completely evil and completely good characters as it relates to the case anyways. Each character has a little complexity that feels human. Like Sherd is like a victim of abuse seeking connection in any way that he can find it. And Han wants to protect his father probably because he wants his love. Yeah, Pim and Kao are, well, they're greedy, but it's also kind of normal for us to want to rise above the status in society that kind of doesn't treat us well, doesn't afford us the same opportunities as others, right? I feel like every bad character's choice is really just an attempt to find a sense of belonging, which is part of the human condition. I guess the only exception is Han's dad. I guess being power obsessed is also a human flaw. Now, to be clear, all of these characters were still bad people, but it doesn't feel cartoonish. Part 3. The world around them. We have to talk about how the show handles parental love and queerness in the world they build. I've always felt that the most important type of love that needs more attention in shows is parental love. For me, it's even more important than romantic love. Whenever a show or a movie focuses on good relationship between parents and their children or between siblings, it gets me every time. Pipop's parents are loving. It's quite obvious with his mom and not as much with his dad, but there is a sense that they care deeply for their child. When they find out about Pipop and Clow, their reaction, even though it's not great, it's much better than you would expect. I obviously don't know what Ayutthaya would have been like 400 years ago, but I'm willing to guess it wasn't very queer friendly, and especially for the rich. So it makes sense that his parents don't exactly accept them. But it's clear that they are not disgusted by them or anything like that, and his mom even makes it quite clear that she still loves them. This is a very intentional choice by the show, and I really like that. I also have to believe that they have always been parents who love and accept their children unconditionally. Another way the show incorporated a queer-friendly approach was with how all the house staff were like completely on board with Pipop and Kun, and they were always on their side and always so down to see them be in love, and that was so beautiful. On the other hand, I spent the whole time being so annoyed with John for how he was treating Kel. But to be fair to him, he had experienced something traumatic. In his own way, he was trying to protect Kel from that possible future. Still, it hurt every time John would take one step forward and then the next day take like 10 steps back. It made me feel like he deserved Pan's attitude in the future timeline, and maybe even a little worse. The timing of when the source of John's fear was revealed was really well done. In the beginning, the story kind of gave us like a villain and a victim, but finally reveals that technically they are really two victims. When John overcomes his fear and John and Kel finally get together, I was so happy for them. Still, I wish Kel never had to suffer, but I also wish John never had to suffer. The choice to make Clow and Kun children of single parents is not lost on me. In both cases, they're very close to their parents and their bond is super strong because they only have each other. I really appreciate that they portray single parenthood in a positive light. It's not that I think it's all rainbows and sunshine, but I also think that it can be beautiful in its own right. I was so sad when Clow and his dad's fate kind of played out in front of us. Both of them had to die at the hands of evil people, even though they were both innocent. So it made me feel a little better when they both got a chance to reunite as Kun and his mom. And when Kun says, "I hope to be your child in every lifetime," that made it all the more better. I really like a happy ending. Even when the happy ending betrays the storyline, I still prefer it to a sad ending. In a way, Love Upon a Time gives us both. Clow and Piman Pope have the saddest possible ending. One is killed before the story even begins and no one knows, so he doesn't even get mourned. The other one dies all by himself with so many questions. I mean, Piman Pope lost Clow twice in one lifetime. I don't know what could be worse than that. The show tries to hide their sad ending with Kun and Pitina Pope's happy ending. Yes, I know technically they're all the same people, but they still feel very different to me. I just can't cognitively accept that they're the same. So this made the ending kind of confusing for me. Like, I was happy for Kun and Pitina Pope, but I felt like I was betraying Clow and Piman Pope, like the real Clow. And when Pitina Pope says it was Kun who he really loved, it makes me feel a type of way, because the person he really loved was Clow, and by that I mean the original Clow. But Clow never gets to know that people loves him, or at least we don't get to see him acknowledge it and enjoy what that love possibly could look like. Well, at least Jom and Kel get to experience a happy ending in both lifetimes. Although, to be fair, I guess it's because they did all of their suffering in the past lifetime, and so all that was left was for them to enjoy. Anyways, I'm not very good at numbers-based ratings for shows, so all I can say is that I love this show so much and I will be rewatching it till the end of time.